and welcome to an unusual podcast today. There are three people here. Myself, Professor Allen, we have,
Trey?
and we have.
My name's Vincent.
And welcome to our podcast. Now, this one is going to take advantage of the fact that we have one British person here and two American people. You'll figure out who is who shortly. Now, the British person brings with him a bunch of years of experience of British food, candy, particularly, chips, and cookies. So when we started talking about using the podcast studio and making the most of this great facility, we thought, what could we do? So we decided to go with a food taste session. So what we've got here is we've got a bunch of British candy. Now, for the sake of just knowing which food is where, the right side of this plate, where my hand is going, is the British side. That's the Americans. It's almost like the Revolutionary War. But anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to work our way through all this food by munching and just giving our unrehearsed opinions and thoughts about the food. So that's the plan. There's no order to this other than where do you want to start, guys?
Yeah, it's kind of just eat and keep going.
All right. Do you want to start with the Americans?
Yeah, we'll start with
Milky Way.
Milky Way.
Milky Way over here.
Just right off the bat, staring at the plate here, both look extremely similar. If you just came in here and sat down, you'd have no idea which one's which. What was the name of the British side?
That's the Mars bar.
Mars bar, correct, and then the Milky Way. So, yeah, I guess we could start it off right now.
All right. Who wants to do the honors?
So
Okay.
we're gonna start with the Milky Way.
Starting Milky Way, the American one. All right.
Classic American candy bar.
Milky Way, every time you bite into it, you get a nice caramel pull.
That is so good.
It is very good.
First thing I noticed when you cut them, this one seemed
It
a
is
little
very
more
good.
stiff.
Mm-hmm. But you're right, though, on the inside, if you can see that there, that's the English Mars bar. Layers of chocolate around the outside, nougat in the middle, people say that differently, and kind of toffee on the top. Interestingly enough, like you said, though, Trey,
Very good.
precisely the same thing here. Now, in England, there is something called the Milky Way, but the Milky Way is more of just the chocolate with pure nougat. What do you call that? Nougat.
Yeah, it's nougat.
Nougat?
Yeah.
I think if you're French, it's nougat. We'll go with nougat. So, but that is good. Not too sweet though, huh?
I will admit, though, it does make me a little thirsty. I don't know if that's...
I thought of everything, Trey. Yeah, well, I figured when we get to the chips, on top of the chocolate, followed by the cookies, it's going to be awfully thirst quenching or thirst making. All right, ready for the Mars bar?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I'm ready.
All right. One each here. How about that? Be interesting to see how it bites in. You thought it looked a little bit harder than the other one, right,
Seemed
Vincent?
like
I think it might be a little bit softer when you actually bite in. What do you think?
I didn't really feel a difference in terms of texture. The taste is a little different. It's good, but I don't know how to describe it, but the taste is slightly different.
You could always take a bite back of the Milky Way and compare it.
Maybe like... Hang on.
the nougat seems a little bit drier, but like in general, the taste is kind of... it's pretty much the same to me. But
The one thing that
Slight
hits me more with the Milky Way is it's instantly sweet.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that kind of hit me right away. The Mars bar is definitely sweet,
Yeah.
but it didn't sort of hit me as quickly for some reason.
yeah, I do agree with that.
You know,
The Milky Way just... The taste right away is just a little stronger.
I think so.
Both very good, but if I had to pick which side here, I'm going to have to stick with the Milky Way.
You go with
I'm gonna have
Americans.
to.
Stick
Yep.
with the Americans.
Yep.
Fair enough. What do you think? Which would you choose, Vincent?
I would probably stick with the American too, Milky Way. But
You disagree?
No, not necessarily. I think if I say I was feeling weak because of lack of blood sugar, I'd go with the Milky Way because that really hits you
Yep.
quickly with the flavor and the sweetness. But I think there's more subtle. It's like those time-release medications, the Mars bar. You know, you get a little bit of a little sweet, and then it just sort of nicely spreads itself out. But yeah, that's definitely harder, don't you think? The Milky Way.
Yeah, a little bit. I can appreciate that too sometimes when something's like a little less sweet, because then it's just kind of like easier to eat. You don't get sick of it as much.
Yeah, so it's more gradual. Well, it seems a shame to leave that there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What do you think? Go on, let's
Can't
dig
let
in.
it.
And then we can do a final comparison. See if you get hit with that sweetness like we were thinking. I think I did. What about you?
Yeah.
There's very little in it, though, right?
It's not overpowering either. It's not nothing too sweet. I think it's perfect.
Mm. The chocolate, I think, is identical. Don't you think the chocolatey kind of flavor for the outside, for the Mars bar
Pretty
and
much.
the Milky Way? All right, time with you. Time for a drink. All right, then. So what do you think next?
I think.
Chips.
Salt and vinegar chips.
Yeah.
Salt and vinegar.
Yep.
Okay.
And hula hoops.
All right. So let's put the salt and vinegar. These are the American ones here, the Lay's.
Classic.
Well,
Good
we'll
old
see
Lay's.
about that.
Yeah, we'll see.
Does it lose its classic reputation when we put the hula hoops next to them? Let's have a look.
I'm interested to see what these look like coming out of the bag. If they look exactly like the labeling on the front. Oh wow!
Yeah, they look quite different, though, don't
Wow.
they? And the interesting thing is, when we were younger and our fingers weren't as big, we used to put these on the end of our fingers. So my friends and I, here's what we do: we lay a bunch of them on probably our little fingers, you know, the little one, and you bite them off there. Actually, try not to eat your finger. So that's what we did as kids.
What these remind me of, obviously they're a little smaller, but I don't know if you ever heard of I don't know the actual name of them, but they're like fried onions. They're like a little snack in a yellow
Funyuns?
bag. Funyuns.
Funyuns.
Yeah.
Oh, Funyuns. Yeah, I've not had them, but I know what
It
you
kind
mean.
of gives me that kind of where they're trying to go with it. But obviously, the Funyuns, you know,
Yeah, Funyuns are much bigger than
yeah.
those.
But that's where it kind of reminds me of,
Are the Funyuns like wafery as a texture?
kind of a little bit. Yeah.
Because that may be a difference. These you'll see when you eat them. They look a little bit thicker, but I think my sons have had the Funyuns. I'm pretty sure. I don't think I've ever eaten one, but they seem like wafery and quite thin
Yeah, they are very, very
as a
thin.
texture. But maybe the taste is real powerful. All right, who wants to do the honors? Which side do we start anyway?
I think we
We
started.
go
that.
British this time.
All right. There's a whole package too. I mean, we may need a bunch of these to really determine what we like. We should pour them
The
all out.
smell right away. I could just smell the vinegar on it.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Solid crunch, right?
It's not too overpowering with the flavor. I'm not a big salt and vinegar guy.
Oh,
but
really?
I don't mind those
I am.
actually.
Yeah, me
Yeah,
too.
that's not that bad. That's really not that bad. It was pretty good. Good
See if you
crunch
Get
too.
one on the end of your finger. See if you can do it. And then do what I used to do as a kid, if you can, like bite it off your finger. But don't. Oh no. Oh, Vincent, no. You got to
No.
get another one. You got to bite it on your finger. You got to live on the edge. You should get a little bit of finger with it, but not too much.
Very good. I like these.
Not so much on the salt, do you think?
Yeah, I taste more vinegar than salt.
I do too. Yeah, it's. Is it really salt and vinegar? Yeah, it is. Okay,
I could probably eat a bag of those.
Yeah.
good. But you can. He'll give you one more for luck. All right. What about the American Lay's? Salt and vinegar, same deal. Salt and vinegar flavored. These ones salt and vinegar flavored. You notice something in the spelling of flavor?
Yeah. Oh, you are.
Yeah, I like the Canadian spelling and, well, Canadian and British. It's you put a lot of U's, like color, COLOUR. Flavor, same deal here. All right. Who wants the big one there? Oh, Vincent, you feed those muscles.
Be more tart, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah,
The vinegar hits.
Well,
hits quicker, you think, than the hula hoops?
what would you classify these as? These are chips, obviously, but where would these go in a grocery store?
with the chips.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a form of chip, what we call crisps.
I was actually going to ask.
Oh, you are? Yeah, all of these things would be called crisps, and it probably even says it on here somewhere, does it? No, it doesn't seem to. Walker's just, Lay's in America is a real popular bake, like you said, Trey,
Here
kind
it
of a
is,
classic.
crisps.
Oh, it says crisps?
Yep.
Oh, there it is, yeah. So it says, when life gives you potatoes, make crisps. And the Walkers has been around since probably the 40s or
Well,
50s.
the logo is like the same as.
Knockoff Lay's.
Oh, you're
I
right,
guess.
though. You're right about that. The logo is the same.
Unless they're owned by the same company.
Yeah, that
I
has,
wonder.
to be.
I wonder.
That'd be a lawsuit if that.
Now, I wonder if it says distributed by Lay's or anything to do with Lay's here. I don't see it. No, it's all Walker's snack foods. So I suppose, back to your question, would they be in the chip section? I mean, they call them snacks,
Okay.
in a broad sense,
Yeah.
but probably, no, almost definitely they'd be in the chip section.
Okay.
But the hula hoops would be with the actual crisps/chips. So,
No, those are good.
and there's,
I do like those.
I challenge you to put one on each finger. Can you do it? You have to have little fingers. Mine have grown.
I don't think I can. Thumb, definitely not.
Even if you just get them on the end.
Can't have sausage.
You know what they say? Little things please little minds.
Maybe.
I used to be able to do it, but either the hula hoops have shrunk or my fingers have grown.
Well, they're not on, but we'll take it.
That's close enough. You know what, too? Maybe they never were. It's just my imagination. All right, now you're going to live just like British young men. Isn't it fun? But I still don't taste much salt. I think I feel the salt on my lips, texture-wise. I can, the little grains.
It's kind of all vinegar.
Now, the other thing is we can't finish all these. We should put them back in the bags and you guys take them. What about that?
Thank you.
Your Easter lunch.
Yeah.
Do you want more of the...
I've had enough of.
How about you, Fritz? Okay, why don't we do that?
I've had enough Lay's in my day. I have salt and vinegar chips all the time.
Do you ready?
And I'll be completely honest. That right there, those hula hoops, I think I like them more. I do.
Do you really?
No.
The texture's definitely different. It's kind of a more complete flavor, you know what I mean?
It's
Or not
just-
flavor, but texture.
A huge thing to me is mess, right? So when you're eating potato chips, you get those big chips, you're crunching away, leaves a mess. Gets on your fingers.
Gets on your fingers.
These, I mean, if you're not putting them on your fingers, they're just throw it right in there.
I got to test that theory out.
Pretty simple.
No, you're right. Funnily enough, there's a little bit of salt on there, that the thing I can't taste too much. But you're right, no grease.
That's why I like those. That's my vote
Here,
right there.
you should finish them. Split them. Okay, I lied. I got one more. Little toasty one. You wonder with the microphones and the podcast how the crunching sounds.
ASMR crunch.
ASMR. My son, Jacob, my youngest son, he listens to an ASMR guy who does, it's food tasting. And, he rustles like this.
Yeah.
And then he eats it, and the microphone's so strong or sensitive, it picks up the movement of his mouth.
You hear everything.
Yeah. My son loves to listen to that. Gives me the creeps.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it. People
Yeah.
fall asleep to it. Like, it's
Yeah.
soothing,
Not a
like-
fan of it. Like all the noises kind of just piss me off a little bit. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. Okay. What about those guys? Come on. You can't leave those there. That's un-British.
Let's see.
I think I may even have you can definitely take the bag. So those are yours. So the original plan then was to go back to chocolate, right? Is that what you wanted to do? So, do we have any more American chocolate?
Hershey's.
Hershey.
Oh, there it is, yeah. Okay, so for this comparison, we probably want to do Hershey's and Yorkie.
Okay.
The advertising on the Yorkie when I was a kid, it was all through my childhood. They had a truck driver who'd pulled in for a rest, during the day, and to keep him going, he had to open the Yorkie bar. And they kind of went together as this kind of image of tough people eat Yorkie. That was what they're trying to sell back in those days. Never bought into that, but the taste, well, I'll leave it for you to decide.
So is it just like a chocolate bars or like something
Chocolate bar.
inside?
Yeah, go on, Vincent. You can do it. Open it up.
Open it.
Then the big question for us here is, do we want to have the crunchy in the middle, or should we wait on the crunchy? It's not a pure chocolate bar, that's the thing. I feel like this deserves its own appearance.
All right, yeah, we'll wait.
You
We'll
want-
do
okay,
these
all
two.
right. So right away, you notice a difference here. Vincent, can you do it? Go on. Trey, American Lay's chip. There you go. Okay. Look at those guys. Ooh, big solid chunks. Now, those are a little bit like the Cadbury. I mean, in appearance, Cadbury tends to be the same design completely, same shape, but maybe a little bit smaller. Just 3 of them? Oh, no, I didn't mean to say that. The way it came, I thought it was a big rip-off. They only gave us 3.
5. Yeah.
Oh, but you're going mathematically, because 3 of us.
Yeah.
Okay, so you hang on to the wrapper, because you guys
These.
can split that later if you want. Put that in your little pile if you want. Or we may need a second shot at that
Yeah.
anyway. All right, last time we started with the British. Do you want to go with?
Yeah, we'll go with the classic old Hershey's bar. Where I'm from, the factory is close to me. It's like 40 minutes, Hershey's factory. I went on a bunch of tours back in the day. You know, they showed with I believe it's called cacao. It's like the
Chocolate plant.
yeah,
The cocoa,
how
isn't it?
they how
Yeah.
they make everything. It's pretty cool. It's basically an amusement park. It's called Hershey Park. If you're ever in Pennsylvania, you know, I suggest you guys go. The amusement park anymore, but it's a cool thing. Hershey's, you know, classic. I believe they do make like Kit Kat and Reese's and I think
Do they really?
I
Didn't
think
know
so.
that.
Yeah, but you know, I'll be honest. I'm not the biggest fan of their plain chocolate. What I like is their cookies and cream chocolate bar.
That's so sweet.
I've
It's
never had
so
that.
sweet.
But I have to say, when I picked this up, I did see the cookies and cream. Never seen it before.
It's so good.
Is
So
it?
like little like crunchies in it. Like in,
Ooh,
inside
now that'll be
it.
interesting.
Yeah.
We'll have to do that from memory, but when we get to the crunchy bar, let's see if we can compare the Hershey's cookies and cream with this one as a little comparison. Now, this one, you say it's a classic. You know, sometimes I wonder about the concept of a classic. Is it just because you grew up on it?
Yeah, it's
and
just
kids have
your
it?
basic chocolate bar. Like you go to the candy aisle at the store, and the first thing you'll see is just the Hershey's bar, like the labeling. All of it is just you see it all the time.
Like it's just like a staple American
Yeah.
chocolate.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
get it at Halloween if you do the trick or treating.
Yeah,
Yep.
that too.
Let's see.
It's good. I mean,
Milk chocolate, isn't it?
Mhm.
Definitely milk.
Actually, my grandma's relatives in Italy. So she said every time they come here, they like die for Hershey's chocolate.
Really?
Because I guess they don't have it over there, but
Probably not, no. But I wonder what they compare it with. Is
I'm
there
sure they have really good
Yeah.
stuff. I don't know why they like this so much, but
I was gonna say they probably have really good chocolate there.
just different, yeah. The Swiss chocolate. Oh. Have you ever had a Lindt chocolate? Lindt, I think it is.
with the filled center,
Some of them do.
yeah, I've had that.
Some of them are like that. Some of them are just solid. But oh, that's good. So, to me, you're right. Kind of an average chocolate. There's an aftertaste to me, though.
Yeah, there's nothing really
not quite sure
special.
what it is.
There's nothing really that unique and special about it. It's just it's just good. It's not amazing, but it's just good.
Not that sweet.
No.
Like when you go back to the Milky Way versus the Mars bar. To my palate, it doesn't hit me quite as much with the sweetness as the Mars bar, but maybe similar to the Milky Way. It's quite sweet. But that aftertaste, maybe it's the cacao you were talking about.
Yeah.
There's something kind of the back of my throat, up by my nose. It's
It
a
dries.
little-
Yeah,
It dries.
I get it.
It dries
Yeah.
mine.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. It's a little taste I can't put my finger on. Well, are we ready? Go across the pond? Grab one each and then
boy.
let's see what we think. So this is the Yorkie from, I think, the north part of England.
Color's a little different.
Yeah, I was gonna say
It is a bit
a
different.
little lighter.
a little lighter. I like that. Let's see.
It's definitely a different taste to my palate. A little richer, maybe?
Yeah, it kind of melts a little bit more than the
Hmm.
Hershey does.
It tastes a lot
That's true.
different. I can't find the words to describe how it tastes different, but it definitely tastes different.
Does it feel creamier to you?
Yeah.
Mm.
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah.
I can feel that. It's kind of melting gradually, but it's as it melts, there's a creamy consistency that there wasn't with the Hershey's.
Also, the whole throat thing, it's not drying up my mouth. This, the Hershey's did, but this one, nothing. I felt
Mm-mm.
nothing. Yeah.
And I wonder if that's part of that creaminess.
Yeah.
That the creaminess kind of coats your throat a little bit, doesn't get it stuck.
Probably.
Mm.
I'd probably go with the Yorkie for this one.
Yeah.
I think it tastes a
Yeah.
little bit better.
It's a little. It's not a good word to describe things, the chocolate, but it's a little smoother.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I think part of that's the melting, like you said, Vincent, and it's also when it does melt, it's got that kind of creamy, milky.
It kind of like coats your mouth, so to say.
It does. No, it does. There's a kind of harshness to the Hershey's, and it's what you said about your throat. I think there's something in that that is the opposite of Yorkie in terms of being creamy and smooth. It's kind of a harsh is a weird word for chocolate, but it doesn't.
It's like a
break down
sort
as
of a tingling sensation, sort of.
It
like
is.
after it goes down.
It's got to be one of the ingredients,
Yeah.
maybe, or we could take a long time to study the ingredients. It would probably make us sick to look at it all. But it's, yeah, who knows? Maybe it's different cows for the milk. Never know.
Yeah. Who knows?
Could be a lot of things.
Could be a lot of things. Do you want to add that to your pile of goodies, or
Yeah,
there's one
sure.
each now? You can have it.
We'll save it. Let's
Save it.
Yeah.
Save it in your pile. Right. What's the recommendation for where we go now? We've got these.
We can go nice mid-break and do the biscuit because we got nothing to compare it to.
Now it's interesting you call it a biscuit, because in England anything like this is called a biscuit. You know, as in America, as I learned when I first came here, the biscuit would be like the biscuit and gravy kind of
Yeah.
thing, or the slightly thicker, doughier thing. And my understanding is these would be called cookies universally in America. There really isn't a cookie as such in England, you know, unless it's an Americanism that people just use. But in the real kind of what you might call, I suppose, pure British vocabulary, these would be biscuits. Biscuits are usually, but not always by any means, had with tea. And in England, tea gets confusing because tea is is often a light supper. So people, generally speaking, at least when I was growing up, eat their evening meal a bit later. You know, than say maybe about 8 o'clock. I mean, sometimes when I was a kid, we used to eat about 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. But we'd come home from school and have tea. Tea was usually a milk to drink, maybe, milk or literally a cup of tea. And then we'd have a few little sandwiches and usually biscuits. And that would keep us going to the evening, you know, for the few hours in the evening, and then supper time. It goes crazy, and we eat a decent meal and then go straight to bed on a full stomach. The worst way to do things. So anyway, that's the context of this. And when I used to go visit my grandparents or elderly relatives, it was without fail. They'd have you come over in the afternoon for tea. And tea was the sandwiches. And the hobnobs, you can get hobnobs that have chocolate on the top of them. So I decided to get the hobnobs without chocolate because I knew we were going to have a lot of chocolate. And we want to go pure here.
Good call.
You like that idea?
I do.
So, this would be eaten by the queen. Well, not now, of course, but now the king. Here, let me take my handy-dandy little knife. So we'll have to see what you think of these. And I think for this purpose, we're going to have to go with the memory of what your favorite American cookie is. But, you know, try to think of it without the chocolate, like I said. Oh, look at that. It raises all sorts of excitement when you just look at the anticipation of what you're about to get. Now, you don't know what you're about to get, but when okay, the big moment in your lives, guys. You got to study that thing first.
Off the bat, kind of gives me Nature Valley bar vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah, good
I
point.
don't know
Good
if I'm
point.
gonna break it and it's just gonna crumble into a million pieces.
You know what though? That's a really interesting point about the Nature Valley because when I fell in love with the hobnobs as a kid, we didn't have Nature Valley or anything like that I recall. So that's a really interesting thought. When I bite into it now, so many years later, will I be disappointed? Because I say I've had 1,000 Nature Valley bars like this.
The Nature Valley is good. It's just like you just open the package and it's just crumbs everywhere.
It's crumbly. Now, do you notice is this? This doesn't seem to be so crumbly, does it? When you tap it around a bit, it doesn't.
I've seen worse.
Not really.
Seen worse.
Because you're right, Nature Valley. When you open the packet, there's you have to drink all the crumbs first and then open it up.
Go for a break.
Now look at the underside of that thing. It's a work of art. You
I
see
like
that?
it.
It's got like a crisscross pattern.
Toasted.
Oh, that's a good point. Smell it. Smell a bit toasted?
Smells like Nature Valley.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
It does, doesn't it? Well, those are. Let's see. They have a bunch of ingredients, but some of the ingredients are toasted oats, I think, in Nature
Oats
Valley.
are like almonds or stuff like that. I guess.
So I see what could be an almond in the top here of this one. Probably oats. All right, let's give it the big test.
A little dry.
Yeah, I mean, it tastes fine.
That's why you would dip it in tea, I guess.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I would have to put something on top of it or dip it into something. Like if I ate this plain, probably not. It's just it's just very bland if you eat it by itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you need something with it.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Actually, now I think about that, sometimes I know my parents would put cheese on the top. So it's like a sweet and savory together, and a little thin cheese, slice of cheddar cheese or something like
Now
that.
that you say that, cheese, I'm starting to get a taste of like a Ritz cracker. A little bit. Like a Ritz cracker?
Mm.
Yeah. The slightest.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Doesn't really look like it.
No, not at all.
And the Ritz crackers kind of wafery, isn't it? Like thinner. Does Ritz crackers, do they have cheese in them? I
You
think
can
they do.
get ones with cheese inside.
Oh, can you?
It's just, like a cheese
Oh, that's
sandwich. It's like minis.
Oh, yes, I know what you're talking about. It's like a cream cheese in the middle.
Do they
Yeah.
have ham too or something?
Ham?
Maybe.
I don't think so.
Maybe? No.
I don't think they have ham.
I don't know.
It's like a cheese whiz just in between.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the fakest cheese you can.
And what would you think now if you put cheese and ham on this?
It probably tastes good.
Because
I
you got
think it tastes good.
you got a kind of wheaty flavor in this, right? But yeah, if you mix the ham, a kind of a meaty taste, cheesy, and this, be interesting. But the other thing we used to do, and you mentioned this earlier, is the dunking it. When you dunk it, and then the greatest thrill of all time with this hobnob, it takes skill. You dunk it, and you'd wait till that thing gets soaked, and then gradually it loses its consistency, and it starts to fall. And the skill as a kid was, can you find the point where it's going to collapse? And at that point, you get your mouth right under it, and the thing collapses in your mouth. Stupid stuff that we used to do, but I like to think it made me the man I am today.
I feel like you
I
could
really not.
easily dump this into something like coffee. Have you ever done that? Dump it into coffee? I feel like that would taste really good.
Mm-hmm. Do you have milk in your coffee?
Yeah.
You out there? Yeah, because I'm thinking now, if you had a black coffee, nothing in it, no sugar, no cream or anything, I wonder how it would taste.
Well, the thing is, though, I feel like if you do dump it in your coffee, there's a chance that, like, remnants of the biscuit could, like, fall into your coffee and ruin your drink. You know what I mean? But I just think it would taste good. I mean, I'm a big coffee guy, so I'm trying to think, like, what Americans would dump into their coffee. Like, that would be similar to this. Maybe,
My grandpa used to dunk stuff like this in his coffee all the
like a
time.
donut, maybe?
I don't see people. I feel like that's like a TV thing. I don't know. I never
Yeah, I
see
guess.
people dunking donuts.
I've
in
never
coffee.
seen that, even though it used to be called, or still is in some cases, Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah, that seems weird, because I feel like you get lots of little bits of pastry and kind of cake-type material in your coffee. But I somehow think, when I asked you if you have milk in your coffee, it seems to me that would go really well with milky coffee. this
Yeah.
hobnob.
Mhm.
Whereas with black coffee, it's a little harsher. I'm not sure how well they complement each other. Now, McVitie's is the big, well, a big name for biscuits in England, and they make all kinds. One of them's a digestive, which is, it doesn't have the kind of sweetness, and it doesn't have the almond and wheat pieces of it. But it's definitely a nice cookie. It's like I think you can get rich tea cookies here, can't you? Yeah. It's a bit like that, but it's got that wheaty flavor to it. And I couldn't get everything in this store. I was tempted, but I thought I almost went with the McVitie's digestives, and I thought, no, I think the hobnobs would be good. But that doesn't mean we can't get digestives some other time, even if we don't do a podcast.
Digestive will probably just disintegrate.
Yeah,
Guess
if you
it's
put,
supposed to break down easily.
I think so. I think so. But you wouldn't find things falling off it because it's more of a solid cookie, biscuit cookie. All right. You know what we didn't do? I mean, you guys decide. We were going to compare the Yorkie. What was it? The Yorkie, Yorkie. What was the other chocolate? Oh, the Hershey's, the Yorkie, and then we were going to go to the Crunchy. But probably we did a good thing by taking a break from chocolate.
Mhm.
We got nothing to compare this with, so this has to sit alone.
Yeah, I think we should just evaluate the bar in itself and just.
Is that sort of like is that like peanut butter?
No, it's not. It's actually not peanut butter.
Like a Butterfinger.
Well, good question. We should dig into it and see.
Yeah, let's find out.
We should find out. And you said this was also a little bit like some cookie that you said has cookies and cream in it.
Well, cookies and cream.
Oh, the Hershey's.
Oh, Hershey's.
thing that he said.
That's like vanilla and like a. Trying to think of the best way to.
It's like
describe
chocolate, like crunchies.
it. Yeah, it's like vanilla and chocolate.
In the Hershey's one.
Yeah, it's like a white bar.
I don't know. This may not compare with that because let's have a look at it. We should probably get it out here and then cut it, and then you can look at the inside because I'm thinking based on your description, it's probably not the same as
I
that.
think it'll probably compare to
There
like a
we go.
Twix. That would be my guess. Just on the look of the bar, it looks like a Twix or like a Three Musketeers type bar. If you've ever had Three
I
Musketeers,
have, yeah, I have.
Kind of, yeah.
The consistency-wise, you may find that's a bit different. So let's do our break into three section. So take a look at that guy and see comparison-wise.
Interesting cross section.
It's like wafery.
Yeah, it is.
Whoa,
It's kind of honeycomb if you look at the.
like really hard.
Yeah, there's no softness to that one at all. It's crunchy kind of.
Whoa.
which- Now, how does that compare to the Hershey's cookies and cream one that you were describing?
It doesn't.
Yeah, it's
doesn't-
much different.
Not the same. Yeah, there's no softness in it. It's that you bite this. And
I
it's
like
crunchy.
this a lot though. I like the wafer.
Mm.
There's like a caramel to it.
It does a definite sweetness.
Pretty good.
I don't know what I would compare this to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know. Trying to think.
What was the other one you talked about with peanut butter in it? Oh,
Butterfinger.
Butterfinger. Yeah. Does it compare to that?
Texture-wise, maybe a little bit, but that's like a lot of peanut butter, so flavor-wise, no.
I don't detect any peanut butter in this.
Yeah,
do you?
I don't either.
I think it's pure honey, actually. Honeycomb.
Honeycomb and caramel.
Caramel, yeah. And then you put that with the chocolate that you first bite into. That's a good mix in your
It's
mouth,
good.
isn't
This
it?
is really good.
Just pass me a napkin.
Oh yeah. I think it's also a little toasty. Like toasted.
A little bit.
What does it say about it? Oh, it's Cadbury's chocolate. Dorma saying she likes Cadbury's. That's the, yeah, Yorkie's is different. It doesn't have it. It's its own make. But this one actually has the Cadbury chocolate on it, which is pretty nice. Yeah, it just seems to, ingredients-wise, I mean, I think that's it. It's the chocolate and the chocolate ingredients plus this honeycomb. But there's no doubt that the sweetness hits you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely
It,
very
it,
sweet.
it is really good though.
You like that?
The only downside I would say to this bar is the remnants gets in my teeth. I don't know if you guys feel that right now, but
A little bit.
well,
Not yet, but I bet they will. Because when you chew it over in your mouth, it sort of the hardness breaks down, but it becomes a kind of goo, doesn't it? Like
Yeah.
like a syrupy thing.
Yeah.
Maybe, is that what's stuck in your teeth?
Yep.
It does become sticky
Mm-hmm.
on the teeth.
On your fingers, you notice that?
Yeah.
I mean, back to the discussion of the potato chips, that they were greasy and oily. This is definitely a sticky situation. Ah, that's almost a little joke by accident. Oh, you can see why didn't make sense to get one each. We'd be under the
That would
table
have been
here.
a lot.
That'd be an awful lot of sweetness. Now, the interesting thing that's rattling around my head, we just finished the chocolate in the crunchy, and how the chocolate blended with the honey. I've almost got, and this is my imagination, a taste of Hershey's back in my head.
From the crunchy?
Yeah, from the combination of it. I'm going to try something. I don't want to hold one here because I'm having too much chocolate, but I'm just thinking, if I have a bit of the Hershey's, do I get the same taste that I got from the crunchy?
It was a little different.
Yeah. It's in my imagination, it was the same. It's actually not. I'm thinking it may be that cow that you talked about earlier, Trey. Remember when you went for the tour?
Yeah.
There's some taste there that's.
Yeah.
Oh, there it goes again in the back of my throat. What is that?
I don't know. It's just that's why I never really, get that chocolate bar. Like if I'm out getting candy, like going to the movies, like that's not the candy I'm gonna get. Like it just makes my throat dry, my mouth dry, and it's just like I bought all this money for a slushie, and I'm gonna kill through it because this candy bar is making me thirsty. You know what I mean? So
Doesn't make sense.
yeah.
I'm wondering now, does that not have as much milk as the Yorkie? Well, I think we kind of talked about that before, but it feels like that harshness that I'm anxious to try and understand. It's not.
Probably more chocolate, less milk. I feel
Yeah.
like the more milk there is, I feel like the richer it is. Like the Yorkie, I think it was.
Yeah, it was.
So-
Don't forget you got 2 pieces in there. Ooh, it's going to be nice. All right. What do you think?
I'm scared to try these.
You're scared to try.
Interesting chip flavors.
So we actually do have the Lay's, the regular American classic. So there's, unfortunately, well, let's say that again. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a comparison of these British ones. The prawn cocktail or the beef and onion. But they have some pretty wild flavors in England. And the store I got these at, it had a bit of a representation, but in reality, they didn't have the full breadth of English crisps you can get. They have some crazy flavors. They have roasted chicken, which isn't that crazy, but they have like frog legs, potato chips, and they are strange. One thing I noticed when I first came to America many years ago, 1985, believe it or not, was the lack of variety in potato chips. It's got better, but there's, for some reason, potato chips in England just has a huge range of them, and you can get plain.
Yeah, Lay's makes a lot of flavors now. I think they let like fans decide flavors and then they make it. So.
Oh, really? Really?
I've seen commercials about that.
That is cool.
Weird flavors.
Yeah, stuff you wouldn't imagine, but yet when you taste them, they're really pretty good. So, what do you think?
I'm ready.
But with
Ready?
those,
So, which ones should we just take one bag at a time?
yeah, we do that.
Yeah.
You want to do that?
That's fine.
Oh, I never did show you the trick, did I?
British
The
opening.
British opening. It's not just golf, Look, what's this? So open like that first, but here comes the skill. Take the side, and you just open it like that. And what we used to do, and still do if I go over there, is, I didn't do that as well, but okay, that's not so bad. And then you've got like a little dish of potato chips, and you shake it around, everybody just dips in.
Ready.
New skill. Now you notice the grease all around that compared to the hula hoops. So what did we say these were? Beef and onion.
Doesn't really smell like anything. Maybe like a barbecue.
Yeah, it doesn't smell like much, does it? So where's the
Not really.
taste hidden? Oh, that's hidden inside, isn't it? You notice that? I could hardly smell a thing when I took my first bite.
I think that's pretty good.
I like them. They're pretty good.
Okay, you know what I suggest? See if you can find a toasted one, like a slightly crispy one, and see how that tastes. Can you taste the beef and the onion?
For some reason on that one, I didn't really.
Oh,
taste
really?
Anything. Yeah.
I think I can taste both. I think.
The more I eat these, like, the taste is already like in my mouth, and so I keep eating these chips, and it just tastes like a plain chip. It's weird.
Isn't that interesting?
It's still good. But I don't really taste the beef and onion anymore. Like it's just like I'm putting chips in my mouth, like plain Lay's
Like
classic.
the layers. It's not really strong, is it? Not a strong taste.
Not really.
The first one I ate was strong, and then yeah, I know what you mean. As you start to eat them, maybe it's so strong you've got your brain's got the taste in its mouth in it. I mean, the brain is absorbing. What am I trying to say? The brain has got that imprint of the taste.
I would eat a bag of those. Not bad.
I would too.
Just as well, because there it is. Yeah, they're not bad at all, but beef and onion. All right, what do you think? You want to have a few more of those?
This is my last little handful here.
Now, what we could do, since you're talking about the fact they taste like a regular potato chip, should we open up these? Because these are regular classics, nothing other than probably salt and a bunch of chemicals. And see whether or not now, because I'm curious to know that when you eat an American classic Lay's, does that also have the taste of beef and onion because it's already in your mouth?
It's very possible.
Isn't it? Because that way you can take the bag with you.
I ate the beef and onion. Now I'm gonna eat the Lay's.
And see if they taste like beef and onion. Got rid of the taste, didn't it?
Yeah.
Salt.
Yeah, it really killed.
It killed it.
Yeah.
Okay, now the next test. Let's take a beef and onion. Does it put it back? Because in theory, it should be like the very first time we tasted it.
No,
No. Not like the first time.
I don't taste anything now.
Nor do I.
I get hints of flavor when I put that back in my mouth.
Is it as strong as the first time for you?
Yeah, it was about the same, honestly.
Is it?
This didn't completely clear the flavor. I think that just doesn't have much flavor at all because it's just salt.
Salt. Now, interesting test would be to put a piece of the Hershey's chocolate bar in your mouth, followed by beef and onion, followed by Lay's.
Interesting flavor.
I'm going to have one more of these and just see. That's really strange, though. We all lost the taste of this after the Lay's, and then it's not coming back as strong.
I'm not a big Lay's original guy.
Aren't you?
No, I need flavor. You know.
So you like salt and
I do,
vinegar? Yeah,
yeah.
man. I cannot buy salt and vinegar. I mean, other than this, because if I do, I lose all self-control. All self-control. I would just eat. I mean, first of all, I'd eat that entire thing, and then sometimes my kids buy that as a joke.
Eat
For-
the whole
like
bag.
I absolutely will. And then sometimes they'll get those almonds, the salt and vinegar almonds. Have you ever had those? It's a disaster. I will eat the entire thing in one go. It's embarrassing. All right, so how are you going to transport these now?
Oh gosh.
We can put them to the side and determine that after.
Yeah, good point.
Yes.
Oh, you know what you could do? I got some more of these plates too. You could put one on top of the
I'll
other.
just throw it on my plate.
Yeah, there you go, and
want some?
then bring the whole thing
Throw
back.
the rest on your plate.
All right, so now, how are we doing here? We got the hula hoops are gone. All we got now is prawn cocktail.
God.
So, now this one is a bit of a classic in the old English culture. You can get prawn cocktail here, like as an appetizer if you went to a restaurant. There's something a little bit different about it in England, which you have to know before you try the crisps, is because there's usually a sauce, like a Thousand Island sauce, and you dip, the prawns are not the shrimp, they're little guys, they're little tiny things, and you generally speaking have like a glass, a little bit like a wine glass, but thicker, like a margarita type of glass, and then it's got a bed of lettuce inside of it, maybe some tomato, and then around the edge, and I think it's very similar to America in this respect. The little prawns just sit around the edge of the glass.
Yeah, it's like shrimp.
Like shrimp.
Yeah.
And in the middle, you've got this beautiful sauce, which is really the cocktail sauce, that's what this flavor is based on. So you have to know a little history of the prawn cocktail dish.
So it's really more of the sauce, not shrimp or prawn.
That's my guess. I mean, as I said, I haven't had these for so many years, but my recollection is yes, it's more of the sauce, but you should get a little fishy taste. Not a strong one, but a little bit of one.
I don't think I've ever eaten a chip that had like a fishy taste. So kind of excited.
It's a new beginning in your life, Trey. All right, let's give it a. Well, first of all, you should be the first to smell it when it opens. Ready? Let's give that a sniff and see what you think. What do you
I
get?
do get
from it?
hints of like shrimp.
It's a
kinda
little
weird, actually.
fishy. Would you get any of
Little
the
bit.
sauce?
A little bit of both.
Oh yeah.
You do.
Oh yeah.
You get both?
Yeah.
I can't remember. Let's shake it up a little. Oh yeah, there's the sauce. I can definitely. But yeah, you get a little bit of
I
the
do get
ocean.
the fish, yeah.
It's like standing by the ocean and breathing it in. Knowing that this is all created through chemicals. Amazing, huh? All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
I think, you know what we'll do? Shake them up this time, just in case. Some of,
Flavor?
yeah, in the traveling across the Atlantic, we lost some of the flavoring. Look at the color of those guys, though, huh? Woo. So the Lay's potato chip looks sick against it, doesn't it? Like pale and sick. This one's got definitely more color in it. You get a vinegar flavor,
A little bit.
a little bit.
It's just a very odd flavor. It's not bad. I wouldn't say it's good. And I probably wouldn't just eat these, you know what I mean? Like, they're not horrible. It's just a very weird taste to it.
Definitely
Yeah,
unusual.
I don't think I could eat a bag of those.
You
It's
couldn't?
like sticky on my tongue. It's not a hard, like you said, it's not a horrible flavor, but
Definitely unique, isn't it? You know, I get a little bit of tomato in there, do you?
Yeah.
And I think that may be from the Thousand Island dressing. 100% sure, but how about lemon?
not too much.
Vinegar?
Definitely vinegar.
Yeah. And a little bit of that shrimpy saltwater taste. I may be imagining this. I think I taste a bit of lemon. Yeah. Or maybe it's the vinegar. It's a little tang.
It's a little tart.
Yeah, a little tart.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I don't know either.
Say lemon.
You know, the interesting thing is when, I was probably maybe about your age when I last tasted these in England. And over the years, they're not as powerful as I thought they would be.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever tasted something like that before.
Probably not.
I haven't.
And that's why I was interested in getting the crisps because of the range of them. You know, there's just, you don't tend to find here as much unless you really dig around. But, and as I said, in the store I went to, they didn't have a huge range of flavors, but these are some kind of classic British ones, I suppose. But they, if you actually went to England and you went to a supermarket or some place like that, you'd find a massive range of them. I mean, stuff that you'd look at and think, well, this is the strangest combination.
I've seen like mac and cheese. I've seen dill pickle.
Dill pickle's good. I just had those.
Never had those.
You've seen them here?
Yeah,
Oh,
the Lay's. They
oh, the
got like
Lay's.
these wild flavors.
I have them right now. Dill pickle.
Do you?
They're good. Yeah. It's
I've never
like
tried them.
they're like a slight variation from salt and vinegar. Like it kind of tastes like salt and vinegar, but like you get a little hint of pickle. And I love pickles. They're one of my favorite. Just eat something real quick. So I'm a big dill pickle chip guy.
Have you had cheese and onion before?
I think so. Yeah.
I've had
Is it-
sour cream and onion.
Yeah, sour cream. That would do it probably. It's very
I
similar.
like those a lot.
I like those, and cheese and onion is another British one. I'm just wondering whether the dill pickle tastes anything like cheese and onion. No.
No. It's really similar to salt and vinegar, but you just get that little hint of dill. That's really it. It's good though. I think you like pickles.
I do.
I think you'd like the chips. Like they're not overbearing with the dill flavor. Like it's very, little. Like you taste it, but it tastes good.
Yeah, yeah. But it's something you got to have something to drink with it, probably.
I mean, I think chips in general for me, I always have something to drink because they just make my mouth dry in general. But yeah,
Probably the salt's part of that too.
yeah.
That's no accident. I bet every one of these has tons of salt.
Oh yeah.
Even if they're not called salt and vinegar. Even this guy, the plain Lays, I think they had, they were pretty salty, weren't they? And these ones, salty and vinegary, even though they're not salt and vinegar. And I think probably the beef. And I mean, generally speaking, in England, any place, a pub is a social place that people go and bring families and stuff like that. It's a place you can get drinks of one kind or another. And they always sell crisps. And because of the salt, and of course, the more salt you take, the thirstier you get, the more of their drinks you buy. And of course, that's an ongoing thing with the business. So I think they all are pretty loaded with that. So how do you feel now? Belly full of
A
all
lot
this.
of flavors in my mouth.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Do you feel sick at all?
No.
No, I don't either. I felt like we didn't have too much of each. If we had tried to guzzle down a Hershey bar each, a Mars bar each, Milky Way, we'd be in sore shape.
I do have one question.
Yeah.
What is your least favorite British chip flavor and least favorite British candy that you remember?
Yeah. Least favorite candy. It's a tough one. There's so many I like,
Something
but
that's just like
they're
nasty.
just revolting to me to start with. Yeah, I tell you what, a funny thing is actually the crunchy would be kind of at the top of that list. And I think the reason for that, now I think about it, because it wasn't too bad today, but because it's so sweet, as kids, we used to eat the whole thing. You buy at least that size and maybe the jumbo ones. And I think probably it was my least favorite because it's such a sweet flavor and so intense and so much of it in a bar. That I realized today just having a little bit of it is a whole better experience, much, much better. So I actually would put that probably low down. The other end of the spectrum, Mars bar. Oh, I used to love Mars bars. and chips, probably, funnily enough, beef and onion is kind of up on the list of the ones I don't like as much. And it's, well, largely because I don't eat meat. So I don't think I'm eating any meat there. I think it's all chemicals, so I'm pretty safe.
Yeah.
But I think it's probably that as well. My favorite, by leaps and bounds, salt and vinegar.
Everyone who eats salt and vinegar, I feel like they're like obsessed with salt and vinegar chips.
Oh, they're good.
It's
I
an
don't see
addiction.
the aroma, but
I think what it is for me is it's really both the salt and the vinegar. I mean, that sounds a silly thing to say, but when I think of fish and chips, for example, the one thing that makes fish and chips really good is salt and vinegar. And if you don't, for me, if I don't put salt and vinegar on my fish and chips, it just doesn't taste as good. So I think there's something about that flavor that is just so powerful, and it's addictive to me. Just that craving of that lovely vinegary taste. So this is why I can't buy them. Because, you get self-control and then you get zero self-control. I go from 100% to zero when it comes to that. So I try not to buy them.
I guess, well, before we wrap up, I kind of want to find out, like, where we stand with the results of, like, which country had the better, chocolate, chips, and, well, can't really compare the biscuit, but, I think we kind of already talked about it earlier, but just to, like, recap, for the chocolate, I think we said, that we would take the Yorkie over the Hershey's
Hershey.
bar. And then we didn't really give an input on the crunchy. I mean, I thought it was pretty good.
It was very sweet. It was okay.
It was
just very
something
sweet.
new. I've never took a bite into a candy bar like that, but I thought it was very good.
Maybe the crunchy is something to share with somebody. You know what I mean?
I don't think I definitely can't eat the whole bar.
Yeah, it seemed to be just right when we split it in 3 ways. That seemed to be kind of comfortable. But I think you're right, though, Vincent. If you ate a whole one of these, and you take that bite that you like, Trey, and you bite into it, and you think, oh, that's really nice. By the time you get to the end of it, it's like, oh my, I've had too much there. So yeah, maybe that's something to buy with a friend and share little bits around and enjoy just a mouthful or two of that one. Does that sound about right?
Yep.
And the chips, that's a tough one. I mean, those were very good. I think
The hula hoops?
I said those I like those more than the salt and vinegar chips. They're both very good, but the thing I like about the hula hoops is that, simpler, just pop right in your mouth. It doesn't leave a mess, doesn't get on your fingers. I feel like sometimes some companies, not just Lay's, with their salt and vinegar chips, they put way too much vinegar on it. Like, I've had some chips where it's just overbearing and I can't even eat them.
That's why I don't like them, because
Yes,
it's
it's
so
too much.
bitter.
I don't know if you ever had light. I think it's called light salt and vinegar. Those are pretty good.
No,
Just a
no.
little lighter.
Is it lighter on the salt and the
Yeah.
vinegar? Oh, on both ingredients.
It's good. Like, it's basically you take these two and just go right down the middle.
Yeah. Well, that might help you, Vincent, because it's not quite as powerful. Would you have the hula hoops again?
Yeah, I like those. I
Yeah.
like those. They
'Cause they
weren't
def-
as bitter.
Yeah, and they
So,
definitely had the flavor,
yeah.
but it wasn't. You're right. It wasn't quite as strong. I don't know if you can buy those in some place like Stop and Shop is one of the brands around here. Back in Long Island or Pennsylvania, they must have something like it, like Big Y, or I don't know if you know those. You probably have local places too, but sometimes, and Dawn was saying this, they have international sections, somewhere.
Yeah.
I feel like these are a little bit obscure, so you may not find them there, but it's
Yeah.
worth looking. You can get these on Amazon, for example, but you can't just get one bag. You've got to get like
A whole box.
5 tons of them or something. Exactly. And if you're not completely keen on them, it might be a waste. So what do we think of this then? Because all we can do with the cookies or the biscuits, I should say, is compare them with really your memory of other.
Well, I think
biscuits.
we kind of really agreed on the Nature Valley bars. I don't think they have like a biscuit type thing or cookie, but the taste itself was very similar to the Nature Valley.
Less messy, for sure.
This was the hobnob was less messy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally thought they were bland and didn't like them as much, but I'm not saying no to them. I could definitely see myself dumping them into like a coffee or even just milk or anything really, like just to kind of moisten up the biscuit. I could see why people would eat these. They're you could put stuff on top of them. I'm not a huge oats guy either. Like, sure, I'll put it in like a smoothie. It's good for you, but yeah, that's where I stand really.
Here's the thought on that. What you were saying. I wonder if you had yogurt
Oh,
and you were able to crumple this up a little bit. Kind of. I know it would get messy, but if you could
Granola
break it
type.
up like a granola, I wonder how that would sit in a bowl of yogurt with maybe some blueberries or a little bit of fruit.
probably good. I mean, the company is it
McVitie's.
McVitie's? They
Yeah.
should really look into doing something with like yogurt or anything really, just to kind of like spice up their biscuit.
McVitie's
really.
crumbles.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
The
It'd
cookie
be like
forms is
McVitie's, if
the
you're
bag.
watching this podcast, there you go.
yeah. There's an idea from your new CEO. Right? But you were saying they're bland.
Yeah.
You could take the edge off that blandness by, like I said, putting maybe a flavored yogurt or some fruit with that, and the whole package of those 3 flavors, the yogurt, the fruit, and that. I wonder, would that be nice? If you've seen those yogurts, you can, on the cap, you turn them upside down, they've got a little bit of foil.
Yeah.
And you pull
flip
back
it
the
in.
foil, and there's something in there. That's maybe what you're thinking about the crumbles, right? I don't know if you are, but the crumbles would be great.
I'm gonna try one thing before we wrap up.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna take a biscuit. Oh, I already have one, but yeah, I'm gonna take my biscuit, I was curious how they would taste with chocolate.
S'mores.
Yeah.
Yeah, see what that's like.
Yeah, I didn't think these were too bland.
You didn't?
I thought, because I don't like stuff that's like really sweet, so I don't mind it when it's not as sweet. So
But you must
I don't
like
mind
something that's a bit more sweet, do you, Trey? So in other words, it was bland because it didn't have that extra kind of honey. I tell you what would be interesting.
This is literally what I just did. Granola bar. You know what's the company with the chocolate? The Quakers. Is it Quakers?
Yeah, I think it is quicker.
Yeah, they put chocolate on the outside.
Yeah. That's basically
granola. Yeah.
It was good. I mean,
I wonder what it would be like if we had more crunchy left. Oops. Glad that's not on camera.
Nobody saw.
Nobody saw a thing. If you took a slice of the crunchy bar, I mean, if you could do it, it's a bit difficult because of its consistency. Made it really thin, put it on top of for you, Trey, put it on top of the hobnob. It would just give it that extra sweetness that you might crave a bit more than Vincent. It's definitely got a foundation of sweetness, but it's. I think you're right, Vincent.
I
It's
definitely
not that
taste the
sweet.
sweetness.
But it's not too strong, is it? The sweetness, no. Well, that was an interesting, slight tour around the world
Absolutely.
of food. But the interesting thing now is if we would expand the concept and go away from British and American, you could go to anything in the world. You know, do you by any chance like Indian food?
I'm not a big Indian food.
I'm not opposed to trying stuff, so I would try it.
Because I mean that goes into a whole different ballpark of spices and things that we didn't taste today. But Nepalese food's another really interesting. I spent some time in Nepal when I was not that long ago, but 10 years ago, and that food is really interesting. But you have to, I think, almost like spicy food to start with, because it's nothing like your taste.
I have a low tolerance for spicy. I start like sweating, my nose starts running. Even when even mild buffalo wings, that happens.
Yeah.
Oh, you
I would
wouldn't
still
like that.
try the food though, but
Don't ever go with my two sons to Buffalo Wild Wings. They go whatever those top level ones are.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's where
it's
they
a
focus.
challenge. It's a challenge. I forget the name of it. What it is.
Yeah, I can't remember, but they, my oldest son is sick for weeks because he tries that really top level
You gotta eat
spices.
them all in like 10 minutes, like 10, 15, 20 wings in 20 minutes.
Terrible idea because at the time he might enjoy himself, but for weeks afterwards it's just pain and discomfort.
Not worth it.
No, I don't think so. But have you tried Indian food? You just don't
No,
like?
I've tried. I think it's called tikka masala.
Yeah, chicken. Well, anything tiki
Butter
masala,
chicken.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've tried that. It was okay, but I'm just not. I didn't think it was that good.
It's maybe something you love or you don't love.
Mhm.
Indian. I mean, I grew up on Indian food and Mars bars, because believe it or not, in England, Indian food is one of the most popular. I mean, if you move away from traditional English food like Yorkshire pudding and those sorts of things, the next biggest one, ethnic-wise, food-wise, is definitely Indian. So, well, I would say it was an interesting experiment.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely was.
We're not sounding as lively as we were. I think we got sunk by the chocolate and the
Yeah, I think
cookies
we're having
and
a
the chip.
sugar
Yeah, we're
crash.
getting a sugar crash. Well, guys, thank you. It was good fun, and I'm glad we were able to pull off the idea.
Thank you for having us. Thank you for bringing in all these good foods.
Oh, you bet.
We
And
appreciate it.
And hopefully now the experience of the podcast will prompt you to think of, hey, if you can do it with food, you can do a podcast with anything, more academic in your lives.
We'll have to set something up.
Something like real food.
Yeah, we got to set
nice-
something up
nice
in the future
dishes.
before this kid graduates.
When
I'm
you
out.
graduating
I'm
in
graduating.
May? No, Vincent. Oh my goodness.
He's a year younger than me, so they get another year.
You get another.
So
Well, okay. I'm with you. Just shake on it. Another one before May.
sure.
You want to pick the topic next time?
Ooh.
No, you don't have to do it right now. But I mean,
yeah,
just,
we'll figure it out.
yeah,
We'll figure it out.
because it got us in here. It got you using the
I
equipment.
do like the food idea.
Yeah, and I'm a big podcast guy. I mean, some of my projects in your class, I did a couple podcasts. I like talking. I
You
mean,
did.
some of the times I don't even need a script. Like I just, like it's just fun. On like my spare time, like I'll listen to other people talk on a podcast. Random stuff. Like, yeah, it's kind of like what I like to do.
And you guys did one on your phones because remember there would clashes with the schedule and stuff. You couldn't actually get in here, but you had the idea and you had the will.
Yeah.
So maybe for you, I know you're wrapping up, Vincent, but for you, Trey, you got a whole year left of. If you're able to show your knowledge and your learning in a way that you want, always consider this. I know you did and you have.
It's fun. I enjoy it.
It is fun, and you get to hopefully not make a mess from that little thing on the floor. Well, everybody, thank you for joining us for our podcast.
Yeah, thank you.
This was an effort of the United Nations, the British and the Americans working together as we have for many, many years. And we're full.
Oh, yeah.
But thank you for joining us. We had a good time. So it's goodbye from me.
See you guys.
Goodbye.
Take care.